during this petition alluded to the fact that they were still investigating the matter in furtherance to the DPP recommendations, and I cannot therefore say much on this or purport to answer for those staff who were involved or those who were found culpable. As for the figure which is being branded of 18 million to be the value of this software, and it is not a software, what we are introducing was a system. And this 18 million was to include the software installation, purchase, and so forth, and implementation. This cash shilling, which was the cost, the total cost of 100,675,680. And this cost included the software, there were business intelligence tools, and the implementation, including some element of training. Now, why was I concerned or about this audit vault and the system? This system was to facilitate my office to be able to, in a real-time manner, see the transactions which are going through IFMIS. And as you know, IFMIS is where the platform which all the accounting for national as well as county accounts are done. And therefore, this would allow me to detect any malpractice within the national and county governments. It has been alleged that I personally authorized payment for the purchase of vault without formal contracting in place. Yes, an LPO was issued before the contract, but payment was made after contract signing. As would be expected, I signed vouchers of amounts exceeding certain limits, such as the payment of the audit vault, but only after other signatories, and this can be verified from the vouchers. The amount about the money trail unveiled by the EACC and reported to have emanated from the payment to a company known as OC Kenya towards the purchase of the software, I wish to state that EACC has confirmed that there was no connection or link whatsoever to me as having benefited in any way from the proceeds of that transaction. However, the petitioner further alleges that of the 100 million paid to OC, that we must mark this, Kenya USD 361,300.25 US dollars was subsequently paid by OC Kenya to a company known as Weston Africa UK, a firm associated with the Auditor General through a Mr. Ochieng Oduol, and further stating that the Auditor General benefited from award of the contract to OC Kenya, and therefore allowed personal interest to conflict his official duties as the Auditor General and Accounting Officer. I categorically state I have not benefited from award of contract to OC Kenya as is alleged. Through a separate legal process, I have sought and have asked my lawyers to seek remedies in law against Mr. Mwagona for this malicious and false and reckless utterances, and I wish he had sworn his statement in Parliament. The petitioner further alleges that contrary to Section 74 of the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act 2005, the Office of the Auditor General entered into a contract with Jomo Kenyatta University Enterprises Limited at an approximate cost of 120 million. That the firm was single-sourced by the Auditor General while in full knowledge that they had no capacity to undertake the review, and the firm subsequently subcontracted to an Indian firm. The petitioner further alleges that the procurement by what we call the JEQUATES, which is the Enterprises Limited, was greatly inflated without following procurement rules. My position is that this was a government-to-government procurement exempt and confirmed from the application of the then procurement law, and the same was undertaken in most transparent manner. A detailed report on IFMIS was produced and presented to Public Accounts Committee. This audit covered national as well as county. In other words, IFMIS operation both at national as well as counties. And given the scope of this audit, I consider that the amounts were reasonable and of value. The petitioner alleges that I acted in conflict of interest when the office tasked the auditor appointed by the National Assembly to review the internal audit system of the office, and further that the firm was paid 7.2 million shillings for the said consultancy. I can categorically state that there was no conflict of interest in engaging the firm of Baker Tilly Amerali, who were the auditors appointed by the Parliament, when I asked them to do the internal control system of OAG. This position has been confirmed to the committee by none other than the Professional Institute, which is the ISPAC, and the auditors themselves. I wish to state that this allegation is not true, and I sought approval from the National Assembly via a letter which I sent to the Speaker, and requesting to engage the auditor to review the internal systems of my office. This request was approved and was communicated to me by the clerk. So I did not violate. I asked the approval of the appointee of the auditors, which is the Parliament. The petitioner alleges that the Auditor General has violated Leadership and Integrity Act by employing persons belonging to one ethnic group, more so in Corporate Services Department and in the recruitment of the audit associates, thereby engaging in nepotism, favoritism, contrary to Article 73(2)(b) of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. Recruitment is a function which falls under the Department of Corporate Services, and the Auditor General does not in any way participate in the recruitment process except for the interviews of the highest management cadres. However, in response to this allegation, I wish to state that I am aware the office has observed diversity and incorporates 23 ethnicities in its 1,273 employment workforce. Of this, the highest representation are of Kikuyu extraction, of 481, representing 32% of my staff. Before a year, 2 years or so back, this ethnic community was at 42% of the staff. Now, this is all what I can say of the substantial issues which were raised by Mr. Magona. And with that, I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I can take a few questions, and remember, it should be limited to the point of this press conference. Okay, I think I'll take about 5. Okay, mention your name and. Yeah, just give me a pen, just a minute. Yeah, yes, Moses.
The lawyer has expressed concern about the way and actually you expressed concern about the way Parliament finished.
Of course, his address.